the motion moved, the statute resolution moved by Subramanian Reddy and the motion for consideration of the bill are now open for discussion. Honorable members, the total time allotted is 2 hours. Now I will be calling upon Mr. Jairam Ramesh. Mr. Ramesh, your party has got 0.29 minutes, and then there are only 5 speakers. Please keep that in mind and then proceed. Sri Jairam Ramesh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Sir, this is my maiden speech after you became chairman, so I hope you'll give me a little more time. Sir, I rise to oppose this bill. I rise to oppose this bill for 4 reasons. Normally, I should rise to support the bill. But there are 4 important reasons why this bill should not be supported, and I want to appeal to all members of the House to please look at the real meaning of this bill and not what the minister has portrayed it to be. Number 1, the question that you have raised has not been answered. What is the urgency for defining bamboo, taking out as a tree and defining it as a grass? Heavens are not going to fall if you introduce the bill and take some time. Why was an ordinance issued for this amendment? It is impossible to think there was some exigency, there was some emergency, unless there was pressure that was coming from some private industry to allow non-forest areas for bamboo cultivation. So the first reason why this bill should be opposed is because there is no rational reason why an ordinance was issued. Number 2, the minister has just said that this bill applies to non-forest areas. Sir, I want the honorable members to know that India produces 170 million tons of bamboo from forest areas and 10 million tons of bamboo from non-forest areas. This is not my numbers. These are not my figures. These are figures of the Forest Survey of India, which comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. 94% of bamboo produced in India is from forest areas. 6% of bamboo is in non-forest areas. You are bringing a bill basically to deal with the interests of the 6%, and you're forgetting the interests of the 94%. And this is the second reason why I want to oppose this bill. This is not pro-tribal. This is not pro-poor. This is not pro-Northeast. 65% of bamboo in India is grown in the Northeast. This is completely antithetical to the interests of the Northeast, to the tribals, and to the poor community. This will benefit only private industry, private paper mills, private wood factories, private companies who want to use wood as a substitute for plastic material. This is not going to benefit 94% of that area from which we get bamboo today. So this is the second reason. This non-forest areas is a very small proportion. It's a bogey. And if the minister is saying that he wants to increase the proportion of non-forest areas, it will be at the cost of the forest areas. It will be at the cost of the 94%, and it will hurt the interests of the tribals in the Northeast. So the third reason why I oppose this bill, I was also Minister for Environment. This issue came up in 2009, that the Forest Rights Act defines bamboo as a minor forest produce, whereas the Indian Forest Act of 1927 defines bamboo as a tree. And the minister took great pride that after this government has come, a revolutionary bill has been brought forward. Nothing of that sort, sir. Because, as I said, first of all, 94% of bamboo is already classified as minor forest produce. And I would like the Honorable Minister to know that if there is dispute on a fact where 2 laws are in conflict, it is an established practice, and there are distinguished lawyers here, it is an established practice that the law that is passed most recently by Parliament will be the law that will apply. The Forest Rights Act was passed in 2006. The Indian Forest Act was passed in 1927. So obviously, is the Forest Rights Act that is going to take precedence and priority over the Indian Forest Act. That is why I did not bring the amendment to the Indian Forest Act, and I allowed the Forest Rights Act to play and define bamboo as a minor forest produce. Sir, in April 2011, the then Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Prithviraj Chauhan, and I had gone to Gadchiroli district. And there is very close to where my friend Praful Patel comes from. And there is a village called Menda Leka. And Menda Leka in Gadchiroli district became the first village in India where the transit passbook for bamboo was transferred from the forest department to the Gram Sabha. The net result of this was that the income of the Gram Sabha of Menda Leka went up from 15 lakhs of rupees to almost a crore. The Maharashtra government doesn't like this. The Ministry of Environment doesn't like this because they want to preserve the monopoly of the forest department and they don't want the Gram Sabhas to be empowered. So when we were in Menda Leka, the local Sarpanch Devaji Tofa, who is a Gond tribal, he gave a speech which he said, Delhi, Mumbai mein hamari sarkar, Menda Lekha mein hum hi sarkar. And that was the spirit of the Forest Rights Act. After Menda Leka, Jamuguda in Kalahandi district became the second village in India where the transit passbook control for bamboo use, bamboo transport, bamboo cultivation, bamboo transportation was taken from the forest department and given to the Gram Sabha. Now this is being reversed. On the one side, you are bringing an amendment to benefit private industry, and on the other side, you are not allowing in the forest areas the bamboo control to go to the Gram Sabha. You are taking away the control of the Gram Sabha and giving it to the forest department. This is hypocrisy. And this is the third reason why I don't want to support this bill. Because what you're doing, you're encouraging non-forest areas, and in forest areas where the Gram Sabha should be in control according to the Forest Rights Act, you're going back to the old system, control to the forest department. So this is double standards, and this is not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. So the fourth reason and final reason why I want to oppose this bill is because last year, this house and that house, we passed the CAMPA bill, the Compensatory Afforestation Management Authority bill. We passed the CAMPA bill. And Dr. Harshvardhan's predecessor, sir, he was a very distinguished member of this house. Unfortunately, he is not with us anymore, and may his soul rest in peace. He was a good friend of mine. He made a solemn commitment in the house that, and you were also present, a commitment was that before the rules would be promulgated, we will have wide consultations and we will ensure that in the process of formulating the rules, we will not take away the rights of the Gram Sabha. So on July 28, 2016, Shri Anil Madhav Dave said the following, and this was a statement that he made. I have received some suggestions made by the Congress party and others. If the expenditure is to be undertaken on the land covered by the Gram Sabha in areas which are covered under the Scheduled Tribes and other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act 2006, the rules would provide for necessary consultation with the Gram Sabha. The procedure for effective consultation in formulation of the projects and expenditure to be undertaken would also be specified in the rules. A record of such consultations shall be maintained. हम सभी सुझावों पर पूरी गंभीरता से विचार करेंगे. हम उसके लिए नियमों के निर्धारण के पहले आवश्यक बैठक भी करेंगे. This is Shri Anil Madhav Dave speaking on the 28th of July. Sir, there has been no baitak. I have written repeatedly to the leader of the house, to the minister. I have got no responses. Finally, draft rules were promulgated, put on the website. I gave my comments, no response. I was assured when this bill was passed that I would be called, that members would be called. We were not called. The net result of this is that Campa activities have already been initiated in state after state, willfully neglecting the opinion of the Gram Sabha, the consultation with the Gram Sabha. So I know, sir, I know you want me to finish. I will finish in 2 minutes. So in this case, also what has happened is you're trampling on the rights of the Gram Sabha, which are enshrined in the Forest Rights Act. And now you're coming around and saying that I am bringing a revolutionary amendment which will suddenly make all people, all farmers go take to agroforestry and become very rich. I think this is misleading all of us. And therefore, sir, with great reluctance, I have to say that this bill cannot be supported. There was no urgency for the ordinance. The bulk of the bamboo, 94% of the bamboo is in forest areas, not in non-forest areas. You are actually ignoring the forest areas. You are taking away what was given to the Gram Sabha. The revolutionary decision was not this amendment. The revolutionary decision was in 2011 in Menda Lekha. The revolutionary decision was in 2013 in Jamuguda, in Kalahandi district. And you're taking that away and restoring the rights of the forest department. And finally, in so far as Campa is concerned, which is a very important source of financing for forest departments, you are willfully neglecting all the assurances that you have given to this House. So, sir, because of these 4 reasons, I rise not to support this bill and to appeal to the House not to give support to this bill, which is very misleading and which in the long run will work to the disadvantage of the tribals and particularly of the northeastern states.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, Jairam ji. Sri